Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Allie. I haven't been doing these monthly new releases videos because I'm trying not to buy so many books, but I could not pass June up. First of all, it's my birthday month, and so the books that come out this month I feel like are genetically set up for me to love, but I don't think I'm being biased here when I say that there are so many anticipated releases from authors I both love and have enjoyed before, and also some new books, so oh my gosh, I had to make a video. I'm gonna go by release date here so you can skip around, and I have a mix of romance, horror, there's some mystery, literary fiction, I think a little touch of sci-fi. We'll see. Also, happy Gemini season. All right, I've pulled my notes up. If I'm looking down, that is what I'm glancing at. All right, the first Tuesday in June, June 4th, I have a couple romances that I'm very excited for. The first is actually a sequel to Butcher and Blackbird, which I just read a couple months ago. This is like a dark romance, but it's still got that light rom-com energy to it, which I thought was really fun. It also has a sort of mafia romance edge because there's like suspenseful or thriller aspects to the end. The second book in the Ruinous Love trilogy, I had to look that up, is Leather and Lark. It comes out again June 4th. This follows characters that we met in the first book. Lachlan Kane, he's the other dude's brother, and he's a contract killer, but I think he's really tired of that life, so he becomes like a leather or like a furniture builder. I'm picturing Aiden from Sex and the City, okay? But for some reason, he can't get out of that world that he's trying to escape from. For some reason, the character from the first book, her best friend, she's like the main character of this book, she wants someone dead, and she's going to ask this guy, Lachlan, to hunt him down, and somehow she is going to free him from his past. I don't understand any of the logic. I really hope it's explained because it doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. For some reason, again, I don't know how or why, they have to get married and pretend to be in love. I don't get it, but I'm not complaining. I used to hate fake dating or fake relationships, and for some reason, the past year or so, I've really been drawn to them. Even when I don't love the book, it's like, it's somehow fun to me now. It's going to be Sunshine or Grumpy. Also, Lark, the lady in the book, she is a singer-songwriter. I really hope to God there's no lyrics on the page. I hate it when like music is involved in a book. I don't know. That's one of my pet peeves in books. I can't do it. I think the thing I'm most interested in is the background stories of these two characters, because we got a little insight hinted because the characters of the first book are so related to these, but we don't know all the details, and maybe we'll find out more in this book, and I need to know the drama. I'm sorry. This next romance on June 4th is so random of me. It's about bird watching, but listen, it's called Birding with Benefits by Sarah T. Dubb. This one also, like, the logic isn't logicking, but I don't care because it sounds so cute and very specific hobby. It's also fake dating. The dude is like some professional bird watcher, and he really wants to win some contest. So our main character, whose name is Celeste, she's just gotten divorced, and her friends are like, hey, go pretend to be this guy's girlfriend so he can win a contest. I don't get it. Again, like, what? She knows nothing about bird watching. Why would he choose her? Like, wouldn't he have a better chance at the contest if he got a professional bird watcher? And why do they have to date? I don't know. The thing I care about is that they're gonna go on little adventures, and he's gonna teach her how to bird watch. That just sounds so specifically cute. I don't know what it is. I think it's because I've never read a book where that is the main interest of a character, so it's kind of like, ooh, a new meal on the menu. Yes, please. I think they start to have a connection and some chemistry, and she's all for it, but he really doesn't want to get involved with anyone right now, but you know they're gonna fall in love. So that's gonna be fun. Moving on to the second Tuesday in June, June 11th, we have another romance. I promise there's more than just romance in this video, but we have Not in Love by Allie Hazelwood. I am so excited for a new Allie Hazelwood. I still have not finished this book. I need to correct that. I always have such a fun time with Allie. Oh, that sounded weird. I've never given one of her books a 5 stars, but I always give her books 3.5 or 4 stars. I am so engaged. I really like how playful the narration is. I think she has some of the best little side characters too, so we shall see how this one goes. Also, I keep singing that one song whenever I see this book cover. It makes me so happy because I love that song. Our main character's name is Rue, and she is some science girl boss, okay? She loves her job, she loves her friends, life is good, but then her work companies with another company, or they're like partners. I don't know how anything works in corporate jobs or science jobs, so I will just be along for the ride for that part. But of course, the other company has some probably very tall, sexy man. I'm sure it's not going to be enemies to lovers. Even when Allie Hazelwood says it's enemies to lovers, it's never is. But I'm sure they're going to butt heads a little bit. But then it says that they have a secret, casual, like, fling. Apparently, they're not supposed to date like people in their work, so it's a probably friends with benefits to lovers story. I love those because you get all the sexy stuff right away. And then when they develop feelings for each other, like, you know it's real. It's not just they want to fuck. I love those stories because I think sometimes in books where they don't have sex until the very end, it's like, well, maybe you're not in love. Maybe you're just horny, okay? Maybe that's a possibility. Next up is Horror Movie by Paul Tremblay. I actually have this on NetGalley. I'm a little nervous about this because it's one of those tropes in horror about like a cult classic film. Don't always love that, but I do really, really like Paul Tremblay. So back in the 90s, this film, I think they were probably teenagers. I don't know that for sure. It just feels like that kind of energy. Why am I making shit up already? This group of people whose ages are not known to us yet, they made some cult classic movie, but only 3 scenes were released. I'm guessing there were more unreleased ones, and people became obsessed with it. So much so that its reputation has continued on, and in present day, they decided, of course, that they're gonna make a remake because they make a remake of everything. They find one dude from the original cast, and everyone else is dead. I'm sure that's not a good sign, and I think he might be our main character. He starts, though, losing it almost immediately, and he can't tell what's like in the past from when they were filming and what's present. So I'm wondering if there's gonna be dual timeline. I hope it's kind of weaved together in like a weird nightmare dream sequence kind of thing. It sounds an awful lot like this book that I just read that I gave like 3 stars. It was just fine, but I have faith in Paul Tremblay. It also says it's supposed to have a really big twist and a mind-bending conclusion. I sure hope to God so. Guys, next. Oh my gosh. Okay, this technically does not come out in the US until December, but it's coming out in England, or the European center of the world, the 2nd week of June, and I special ordered it from some random site on the internet. It's called Private Rights by Julia Armfield, who is the author of one of my all-time favorite books, Our Wives Under the Sea. I cannot wait to get my hands on this. I pre-ordered it from a site called Shakespeare & Company. You probably all know what that is, and I'm just dumb. It's a little bookstore in France. And if you're curious, they had a paperback edition. It was $20 and the shipping was around $20 as well. But I live in Hawaii. If you're interested, I'll leave the link down below. You can see what the shipping is for you if you have to have your hands on this like I do. Okay, this one is classified as horror on Goodreads, but I don't know if that's just because like her other books have been classified as horror. It sounds a little more sci-fi to me, which is very cool. This is a book about 3 sisters. They're estranged from each other. In this world, or in this time, it has never stopped raining. It's been a deluge for like decades, and the land has completely like deformed. And because of this, people have to start living like vertically. Cities and towns have to like go up instead of out. And one really big architect who was involved in changing and making sure like people can live was this trio's father. They're also estranged from him, but he ends up dying, so they all come back together and they stay in his glass house. I don't know why that part really intrigues me so much. I think there's like secrets that are revealed, or I don't know. It says here that others have also taken an interest in both his estate and in them, the sisters, and that perhaps their inheritance may not be theirs alone. I don't understand, excuse me, I just hiccuped. I don't understand what that means. I really don't give a shit. This sounds like it's gonna be weird and really sad. And that's all I ask for in any book. It's also only 208 pages. I cannot wait for this book to come. Next up we have a general fiction. It sounds like a funny sad girl book, which you might classify as just a funny girl book, but I think it's got more of a sad girl energy, if that makes sense at all. This is called Margot's Got Money Troubles by Ruthie Thorpe, and the only reason I'm interested or became interested initially was because Kevin Wilson, who wrote one of my other favorite books, said the nicest things about it. I'll put the quote right here. It's supposed to be heartwarming and laugh out loud funny, and it's just about a young woman navigating adulthood, but she has an interesting parentage. Her mom is like a Hooters waitress, and her dad was like a pro wrestler, one of those guys who like put on a character and was pretty much just like acting. There's a lot of stuff going on here, but she has an affair with some college professor at her junior college. She gets pregnant, she ends up having the baby, and then we go fast forward, or maybe this is where we start, where she is an infant, she's broke, she's 20 years old. Her estranged father comes back in her life and is like begging for a place to stay, and she's like, sure, you can watch my kid for room and board. And she decides to create an OnlyFans, okay? Using sort of both of her parents' skills that they taught her. And she like creates a character. She becomes immediately successful. I don't know if it's gonna be one of those stories where she's like, oh, this is just too sinister for my like nature. I need to like go back to my roots. I hope it's not one of those like really judgy kind of things. I really don't think it's going to be. I think it's going to be fun, funny, maybe introspective, hopefully wholesome, where maybe her and her dad's relationships get mended. I don't know. All I know is if Kevin Wilson approved it, I want it. Next we have The Wilderness of Girls by Madeline Claire Franklin. This is a YA debut mystery book. It sounds so good. Our main character's name is Ree. She's a foster kid. She gets placed in a new home and a new town. So she starts working at some sort of like wildlife preserve in this new town. She goes into the forest and she sees like these wolves protecting this group of feral girls. I'm sorry, feral and majestic girls. Ree gains their trust. I don't know if it's immediate or she goes back and like visits them, but they say that they're princesses from another land raised by some prophet named Mother, and they're so sure that Ree, our main character, is their long lost sister. So they want her to stay with them. Sounds a little creepy. Ree ends up going home and starts researching about this. Apparently it's like well known in the town that these girls are just in the woods being feral. So Ree thinks actually these girls were just kidnapped and like delusional. But if that were the case, why is no one trying to help them? I don't understand that. I'll find out when I read the book. Even though she thinks that they might just be kind of crazy and like they need help, Ree can't help but sort of be attracted to their lifestyle and how sort of like brazen and like honest and authentic they are in their emotions. And oh, I just love feral women and like wolves or things like that. So this just sounds like it's gonna be a book for me. Ree ends up seeing something that she can't explain and she starts being like, wait, is this real or is this made up? I don't know. I can't wait to find out. I kind of hope we never find out. I love those ambiguous kind of endings, but I hope everyone's safe. I want to meet this Mother character, and Ree sounds like a very inquisitive young soul and I want to be her friend. On to the third week of June 18th, we have one that I'm sure is on all of your TBRs, Riley Sager's newest release, Middle of the Night. I'm sure that's not a coincidence that it sounds like that Taylor Swift lyric. I think Riley Sager has like quoted Taylor Swift, or I don't remember, but Riley Sager's a Swiftie, I'm pretty sure. Yes! There's a quote in front of the house across the lake. I think he did it, but I just can't prove it. Swiftie! This is my favorite Riley Sager book. Actually, I think it's the only book I read this one last year. This is 5 stars. This one was like 3.5. It was entertaining, but a little frustrating. This book sounds like, I don't know, sounds like it might be another 3.5 unless it gets as interesting as it did as The House Across the Lake, if you know what I mean. We have our first male main character. I'm so proud of Mr. Sager. His name is Ethan, and when he was a kid, he had this best friend named Billy. They camped out in Ethan's backyard, but when Ethan woke up, Billy was gone. Like their tent was ripped open and no one ever saw him again. So we then jump 30 years later. Ethan is a middle-aged man. He starts getting signs. Oh, he goes back to his hometown where this event happened and he starts seeing signs of Billy, like little inside jokes. I don't understand. We'll find out when we read the book. But he can't tell if he is actually, like, is Billy actually here or someone is fucking with him? I think it's option number 3 where he's actually probably losing it, or maybe he's guilty. I don't know. I always like to blame the main character. So there's 2 mysteries going on. Who is like making this shit happen now, but also what happened back in the day. Again, this doesn't sound like that great of a plot. I don't know. But the thing is, Riley Sager always likes to twist and turn things, so that is what I'm hoping for. Something totally out of left field. Why always say left pocket? I don't know. I want to be gagged. I want to be like, wait a minute, there's aliens in this book? That kind of thing. That's what I want. Next we have a new book by Akwaeke Emezi. This is Little Rot. I love this cover. I've actually only read one Akwaeke Emezi book, and it was their debut romance, You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty. I had so much fun with this book. I love a messy time, and that's what I was given. And this plot sounds very messy. It takes place in Nigeria, and there are 5 friends. We're getting all of their drama. I'll put this synopsis, like giving the little blurb of the things they're getting up to. It was a little overwhelming because there's just so many names and so many things happening. I kind of just want to dive into the book without like expecting anything from the characters. But the way the synopsis is worded, it says that these friends are trying to outrun and outmatch a powerful underground world. That sounds fantastical, but I like, based on the synopsis, it sounds like it's going to be like greed and wealth and betrayal and murder and like things like that. That phrasing just has me a little suspicious. I think this friendship is going to be really complicated, and some of the characters are going to betray each other. I think it's just going to be drama, 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 and I love it. It kind of reminds me of like a Big Little Lies meets Wahala. I had so much fun with this book. Also, I think this author might be coming out with a new book this year. That's just an aside note. Get ready for that later this year. Then we have Lucy Foley's newest book, The Midnight Feast. I have yet to read a Lucy Foley book, but I might just fast forward to this new release. This is about a community. There is like the regular ass town people who have lived there for probably generations, but then there's this new rich like mega mansion. All these rich people are coming to the town now. They're raising prices. They're like putting resorts on the beach. They're taking over the town. It's like really shitty for the townspeople. There's some sort of grand opening for this mansion. I don't understand if is it like a home or maybe it's a resort? I don't know. They have this party, I think on a weekend, and it's just extravagant. Think like Gatsby. Everyone's drunk. I think they're all high as fuck. And by the end of the weekend, someone is dead and all of the guests like aren't feeling well. It says it's a locked room murder mystery, which I think means that all the characters were introduced to, like one of them is going to be guilty, or does that mean everyone starts dropping dead? I don't know. I'm not a mystery girly. I'm trying to get a little bit more into it. There's also a town myth about the night birds, which are like a vengeful entity that hurts the guilty. So maybe there's like a group of townspeople enacting this revenge, or maybe it's an actual like creepy mythological being. I always want things to get fantastical. I don't think that's going to happen in this book, but you know, one can hope. I think it's really funny in the synopsis, Lucy Foley saying that there are characters and they're in all caps. We have the founder, the husband, the mystery guest, the kitchen help. So I'm guessing one of them is the killer. And that way that's worded, it feels like a game or like a video game. I don't know. It sounds kind of fun. On to the final week in June, June 25th. I have 4 books for you here. So let's go. We have another horror from an author I've both loved and despised in the past. Josh Malerman's newest book, Incidents Around the House. This sounds like a run-of-the-mill. I shouldn't say that. That sounds rude. It's a haunted house story, but more specifically, our main character is like an 8-year-old girl. That's so cool. And I think it's an imaginary friend. There's some sort of entity in the house that she can see and it's called Other Mommy. How creepy is that? And this other mommy keeps asking if she can go inside the little girl's heart. And I don't know if the little girl, our main character, is evading this question or just refusing it, but eventually Other Mommy starts getting pissed and she starts doing weird shit around the house, probably horrible, tormenting shit. It also says that her parents are having marital issues. That seems kind of random, so I wonder if this is going to be kind of like Daphne, which I gave 2 stars to. I'm probably gonna read it because House at the Bottom of the Lake is one of my all-time favorite books. It's a 5-star. It is so good, and I'm just holding out for another one. We have a new Ashley Poston coming out. It's called A Novel Love Story. I still have not read these books, but I don't know if I want to go in order or if I want to just jump into this one. This sounds like something I dreamed of when I was in high school. Like this is like a wet dream for a reader. Our main character, her name is Eileen. I think she was left at the altar, and so she really hides in reading. It's kind of like I Hate It Here, that new Taylor Swift song. The only time she like really looks forward to other people is she has this annual book club retreat. How do I get on a list like that? How do I do that? That sounds so fun. Eileen's on her way to this retreat and her car breaks down in this small town. Guess what? It is the same town from her favorite romance series. Can you imagine? For some reason, my brain goes to, if this happened to me, I'd be stuck in like the Game of Thrones universe, and that would be terrifying. That would be awful. But I wonder how that would go. I kind of want to write a fan fiction of that now. So this book series that she read was never finished because unfortunately the author died before the last book was written. Our main character decides that she has to finish the book. I don't know why. Why can't she just like leave it as is? Maybe she can't leave until it's finished. I don't know. We're gonna find out. But there's one character here that really does not want her to do that, and it's some grumpy dude. He is not in any of the books that Eileen, or our main character, is her name Eileen? I don't know. I don't have the actual synopsis here. I have my notes. Our main character doesn't recognize this dude and they butt heads, but you know they're gonna fall in love. This sounds cute, but for some reason I'm not immediately drawn to this story. It's not like, oh my god, I need to read it. So I guess I'll see reviews. If you end up reading this immediately, please let me know what you think. Especially if you've read the other Ashley Poston books, give me your ranking when you finally read this book. I need to know which one I should read first. I actually have a sneaky suspicion that our main character like actually got in a car accident and she's in some sort of delusional coma right now. That would be really sad if she fell in love with this dude and then she woke up and he wasn't even real. And then he ends up being like her doctor. I I'm just making a whole new book up. Okay. I'm so excited for this next book. It is The Eyes Are the Best Part by Monica Kim. If you can't tell by the cover, this is a horror novel. And it's about a female Korean American woman who ends up becoming a serial killer. It's a feminist psychological horror. Our main character's name is Ji-won. Her life is a big fat mess. Her dad had some sort of affair. He completely bailed on the family. Her mom and her sister are just devastated. Ji-won's also like failing out of college and she's having these horrible nightmares. Things are not looking good. And her mom ends up getting this shitty, horrible sounding boyfriend. In these nightmares or dreams that Ji-won is having, she keeps seeing these eyeballs and they are like piercing blue. They're the exact color shade of her mom's new boyfriend. She says her mom's new boyfriend, doesn't deserve anything from her family and she'll make sure of that. She's gonna kill him. It even says in the synopsis, like, bodies start turning up at her campus. So I think she's just really like getting shit done. But it says no matter how much killing and lying she has or she does, she just keeps craving more. Like her hunger is unsatisfiable. There's a word for that. I'm not putting it in my brain right now. Sorry. Okay, this next one's kind of random and I hate this cover if I'm recalling it correctly, but it's called Our Little Secret by Lisa Jackson. The only reason I need to read it is because it's a gender swapped Fatal Attraction. I loved Fatal Attraction in high school for some reason. It was like one of my go-to movies to watch. If you don't know, that movie is about a dude who has an affair and the woman who he then leaves to go back to his wife, she loses it and she's like, excuse me? And she torments him. This is about a woman who cheats on her husband. She has a family. She has this 6-week-long affair with some dude named Gideon. She eventually breaks it off with Gideon and he says,
I'll never let you go.
So she's been on edge, but 6 years go by and I don't think anything happens, but she can't like stop being paranoid that he's going to fuck her life up. I think she probably should have confessed to her husband, but that's not how the story goes. So it doesn't say anything about what's gonna happen, but I'm sure the suspense of even just waiting and like anticipating this is gonna be page turning enough. But Fatal Attraction also had some really thrillery like suspense, like actual, I don't want to give anything away, but hopefully there's no bunnies being harmed in this book. Okay, I don't need to see that again. And our final book I'm going to talk about is Please Stop Trying to Leave Me by Alana Saab. I asked for this NetGalley because this cover is so beautiful. I love it. Apparently it will make you laugh, cry, and scream all in the same breath. Hello? Yes? This is about a main character who is dealing with a lot of mental health issues. She's a writer. She's struggling to write, but also like I don't understand this. This feels a little surreal of the way it's going to be written and what's going to be written about. The first sentence of the synopsis is that our main character, who's 27, starts getting messages from God to break up with her girlfriend. And these messages are coming to her through like Pinterest or like Instagram and Spotify, things like that. So she starts talking about it with her therapist and her therapist diagnoses her with depersonalization, derealization disorder. I've never really read too much about that. So I'm really fascinated by that of an account of someone going through it. I don't know if the author has gone through that. I always feel a little weird talking about like mental illness in books because if the person hasn't gone through it or like known people who have gone through it, it feels a little weird sometimes. Like, is this, oh, my battery's dying. Okay, sorry. But I was saying that it's hard to tell if something's a good account of a mental illness. So I will just keep an eye out on reviews from anyone who actually has dealt with this in their personal life, see if it's like a fair assessment. I don't know. Just keep that in mind if that's something you think about as well. What I'm very curious about is the way that this is written because it says that it is told partly through her barely fictional fiction. So I think we're gonna get excerpts, maybe some mixed media, and also through stream of consciousness. It just sounds like it's going to be written so well and that the way it's written is going to depict maybe how this derealization is happening through her mind and like we are getting it exactly how she's getting it. I don't know. It sounds like a 4D experience and I am so intrigued. All right, those are all of the books. Please let me know if you're excited for any of these. June is gonna be so good. I am still in my vlogging rut. I am bullying myself next month to get out of that. Like I'm not even going to be like, oh, Allie, just take a break. Just come back when you feel it. No, I am pushing myself back into vlogging, whether I like it or not. Happy birthday to me. So I think June is gonna be great. Also, because it's my birthday month, I might just buy all these books. I have the NetGalleys for quite a few of them, so I wouldn't actually purchase them all, but I'm gonna be purchasing quite a few. But it's my birthday, okay? 30, baby. All right, I gotta go. Bye.